Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. Are we live? I think we live. Let me check my phone. First and foremost, I want to give all praise to you. How about Shem Yahweh Thumb? It's the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and his son Hamashiach Yahweh, who we know as Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, I see the notification has went out there. We are live. We are live, man. Render unto Caesar what is his. You know, it's the last day for taxes. I don't know. It might have been yesterday, y'all. It might have been yesterday. Last day might have been yesterday. But don't run from them folks, man. And not run from them folks. Don't run from the folks. Fight the gas. Hold on, let me copy this thing again. Paste them in there. But yeah, man, we're gonna be dealing with trust in the process today. You know, things can seem a little rough, man, and things can seem a little dark. And it's hard to trust what you can't see. It's hard to trust what your senses, the five senses. You know, you can't taste it, you can't touch it, you can't. It's hard to trust it, man. It's hard to trust. I don't know if y'all ever seen that exercise where somebody closes their eyes and they ask them to lean backwards. Ask them to lean backwards and let them catch them. And you know, a lot of people do that exercise, man, and a lot of people can't do it, man. A lot of people, you know, they want to do it. It's in their minds, like, you know, but a lot of times, and then sometimes too, man, when you don't fully trust, you end up getting hurt. You know, you doing that exercise and you don't really feel it, and you change your mind halfway through, man, you can end up getting hurt. Just like the those people, like the Ringling Brothers and them circus shows and Solar Delay, whatever. I forget what they call it, man. Y'all help me out. Circus Soleil, Shalaki. And you had the high flyers, and you have the people inside of the those motorcycles. I don't know if y'all ever seen that ball cage. That cage is like a ball they rolling, and they got the two motorcycle dudes in there. You know, if somebody gets scared and don't trust the process, or the airplane jets, when the airplanes are doing, when the fighter jets are out there flying, you know, one person loses their trust and try to maneuver out or try to do something or get scared and try to do something else, man, they'll wreck the whole show, man. Somebody end up dying. Somebody can end up getting killed. Shalom, Mark.
Shalom, Mark.
Yeah, somebody can end up dead like that, man. It don't take but one bad maneuver. Just like the high Shalakia, Shalom, brother Michael.
Hey, shalom, Mark. Shalom, family.
Shalom, Mark.
Shalom.
All it takes is one bad move, and boom, you know, somebody loses trust, and then the whole formation is out of order, and the motorcycle dude end up running over a motorcycle dude, and it could cost you your life. It could cost you your life, not trusting the process. So we're gonna go through this, man. It's not it's a milky but necessary thing, man. So we don't fall victim to, you know, the lack of trust. Just like and I don't have this in the class, but just like Peter when he was walking on that water, man, you know, that trust. You know what I'm saying? That trust would, you know, it start once that wind came, once that adversity came, that trust kind of flowed out, man. So this is just something to encourage us. Especially, you know, the way these things are going, and they talking about inflation and housing market, car dealerships disconnecting from the banks, leaving the car dealerships. They marking these cars up so high now from the what's that, the MSR or the MRSP, but MSRP, man,
manufacturing retail sales price or something like that.
They were showing them things, man. I seen a video on that, man. They were marking them things up $30,000, man.
Yeah, and people buying
them. My God. And people buying them. People are buying them, man. Yeah. But you know, as we get into these things, man, and you know, the 8-year car loans, man, jokers may start losing trust, man, and and start trying to do things on their own or do things outside of what the Lord is has allotted us to do. We ain't gonna carry on, man. Y'all brothers got anything to say before we start this thing? Anything you want to talk about? Any questions? Anything before we open up?
Now, Shalaki, some like you said, it's needed. This type of trusting in that process, because we all get weary, at times. So I yield on that.
Absolutely, man. That's why you say, man, don't grow weary of well doing, man. But it can be wearisome, but we need that encouragement to stay strong, continue to do what we've been allotted to do, man, what the Most High's put in our spirit to do. Once we understand that mission, trust the process. Definition of process is a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. All right, most people don't want to be part of the process. They just want to be part of the outcome. But the process is where you figure out who's worth being part of the outcome. Trust the process. All right, you gotta trust the process, and I like this example of these football players or whoever these players are, whatever they're playing, doing these exercises and doing certain things, and you don't understand why you have to do them. You don't understand why you need this certain stamina. He's just telling you to do these certain exercises, telling you to bear crawl. Well, why I need that bear crawl? Why I need to, why I need to work these muscles until you get in game. Until you get in game, and then you start realizing, okay, I can get up under this joker, and I can, I can put my shoulders in him and drive him down. But a lot of times, man, while we going through that, man, jokers is crying, man. It ain't, man. You are tripping. You are tripping, man. I remember one time, I quit the wrestling team. One time I was out there wrestling. I used to wrestle, and I used to wrestle 170. But football, I used to be like 190. I was a long way. 20 pounds is, for high school, But one year, man, I was out there in the coach. They weighed everybody. Of course, beginning of the season, weighed everybody. And we had to run before practice. We had to run 3 miles or something like that. 3 miles, 4 miles or something. And then the coach told me, man, I came in from running my mile. I done laughed a couple jokers. I done came in. Time for me to go on up. And that joker said, nah, you got one more lap. He said, nah, King, you got one more lap. And I ate it. I knew I was done though, but I went on and ate it. Let me just go and do this next lap. And then when I came and did the next lap, he said, well, King, you ain't make it in time. Now you got to do an extra mile. And I said, man, you tripping, man. I start going back and forth, man. Man, I ain't even have to do that extra lap. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Now you telling me to do an extra mile. I ain't doing that, man. And long story short, I quit that day. Long story short, I quit. Because I didn't trust that process, man. But, I started later, I understood that, okay, you're just trying to get the weight off of me. I needed to do the extra because I was the heaviest from my weight class. And instead of him telling me that, he put me through that part, but he put me through that, and I felt like I was being mistreated. But once they told me, they understood. But I had already, man, my pride was too much. I was like, nah, I ain't coming back. They asked me to come back, like a couple days later, and I was like, nah, I ain't coming back, man. Hey, I just do that for football anyway, man. I ain't doing that, man. But I ended up tapping out. Man, and I never seen that 170 again.
Wow.
Yeah, I ain't never see that again. They lost all control, boy. Lord Christ. Trust the process. Anointed but not appointed. Let's look at 1 Samuel 16. It's going into David being crowned. We're gonna start with 1 through 16.
You mind starting off, Brother Mike?
Done. It's the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 16, verse 1. And the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thine horn with oil and go. I will send thee to Jesse, the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. And Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And the Lord said, take an heifer with thee, and stay, I am come to sacrifice to the Lord. And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show thee what thou shalt do, and what thou anoint unto me him whom I name unto thee.
Shalakia, and if we see Saul, Samuel mourning that Saul is finna get darn took out, man. That Saul has, the Most High ain't dealing with Saul no more. He telling Samuel, man, how long you gonna mourn for that joker, man, that didn't do what I told him to do? He said, man, fill up that horn with oil, get you some oil, man, and go to Jesse. All right, go to Jesse, the Bethlehemite, for I have provided a king among his sons. And Samuel not fully trusting the process. We see a little glitch in the process. He said, man, how can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. All right, with full trust, you're just going to go do what the Most High tell you to do. But a lot of times when we don't really trust the process, a lot of times it's a little question going. It ain't that I don't fully, it's just, hey, I just want to see it a little better because, where you sending me, if Saul see me, I'm going to die. All right, so I just need to understand them. And that sometimes, in trusting the process, sometimes that trust, because we don't fully understand the mission, we lack a little trust because of our lack of understanding on what God is telling us to do. Or is this really for me? Did God really give this to me? Is this really what the Most High is saying to me? Let's continue on. And he may not give you that. He may not, he may not give you a clarity on what you're doing, but we gotta build ourselves up enough and look and go through the testimonies and go through some of these stories like we're doing tonight, so that we can build that trust, so that we can go through this thing, with that faith. Let's say we walk not by sight, but we gotta have that almost blind faith, on some of these when we following the Lord, when we doing what He tell us to do. Because if He telling us to do something, we gotta trust that He's gonna keep us out of danger, that He's gonna protect us, that He's our shelter, so forth, and it's gonna be ultimately to the glorification of His name. And even if something does happen, the end goal, what we really ultimately trying to get to, ultimately trusting that path to us receiving that eternal kingdom. Where we at, verse 4 or verse?
And Samuel did that which the Lord spake, and came to Bethlehem, and the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, comest thou peaceably?
Listen to that, man. And that's what I said. I was talking to brothers earlier today when we talking about the darn brothers calling themselves prophets, man. Listen, man, them prophets came with some. Prophets always ain't come with no good tidings, man. Majority of the time, they're coming with bad news, man. And so these folks are trembling when they see the prophet of the Most High coming in, and they ask, man, hey, man, thou comest peacefully. Go ahead, Doc.
And he said, peaceably, I am come to sacrifice unto the Lord. Sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sanctified Jesse and his sons and called them to the sacrifice. And it came to pass that when they were come, that he looked at Eliab and said, surely the Lord anointed is before him. And the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not a man, not as a man seeth. For man look on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart.
Mm.
And Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel, and he said, neither have the Lord chosen thee. And Jesse made Shammah to pass by, and he said, neither have the Lord chosen this. Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, the Lord have not chosen these. And Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all thy children? And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest. And behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look at. And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him. And Saul's servant said unto him, behold, now an evil spirit from God troubleth thee. Let our Lord now command thy servants, which are before thee, to seek out a man who is a cunning player of an harp. And it shall come to pass, when the evil spirit from God is upon thee, that he shall play with his hand, and thou shalt be well.
So we see that David's anointed, all right, to be king, but he hasn't been appointed yet. The king Saul has lost the spirit of the Most High, and now a troubling spirit is on him. And David, once he was anointed by the prophet Samuel, we see the spirit of the Lord ascending on him. From that point, now we see Saul is in trouble, and one of his servants is saying, hey man, why don't you get somebody to why don't you get a cunning player, seek out a man who is a cunning player on a harp, and this evil spirit, you know what I'm saying, can come off of you and you'll be well. Now who you think they call? They called David.
My
ahead,
phone was muted. My bad. Shalaki, I kept saying David.
Oh, yeah. God. Yeah, they called David. And David had to play the harp for somebody he's replacing. He had to go play the harp for somebody he replacing. Imagine going to the job and you about to replace the manager. You about to place the CEO of this company. Now I'm gonna just say the manager. We just gonna replace the manager of this particular company, and you go in, and you gotta be his. And you go in, and now they're summoning you. You've been told you gonna be the manager of this place, but now you gotta go in and be an employee for the manager, unawares. But you know the manager finna get fired. You know the manager gonna get fired at some point. But now you got to go in and comfort the man. You don't really just go in and be an employee. You got to be a comforter to the manager. You got to be a secretary to the manager of this company, knowing that you've been anointed and told by God that you're gonna be the manager. The CEO already done hired you to be the manager, but you don't know your start date, and now you got to go in and be a secretary for this joker for years. For years. Anointed but not appointed. That's right. All right. Things built in the process. We ain't gonna go through all of these, man. Y'all can just write these precepts down. These are things that are built in this process. I forget how long it was, man. I want to say it was like, let me see how long it was, but y'all can write down those precepts. Trust in the Most High happens in the process. It builds character. It builds willingness to serve. Builds value for the investment. builds patience, it removes leaven, and we learn skill sets. One second, John. I want to say it was about 10 years. It was 15 years.
Mm.
He had to be a secretary 15 years.
Wow.
So imagine coming to work every day. Imagine coming to work every day and you seeing and you knowing that you're supposed to be king, but you're in the place of a servant. Everybody good on that slide?
God.
It says, "Be still and wait." Let's look at Psalms 46:10. And we see this throughout the text, man. You know, people just growing impatient of waiting. Well, how long? How long do I gotta wait? How long? You know, it's getting late, man. It's late in the hour, man. We getting older by the second, man. I don't think he gonna come through. Let's try to do it on our own, man. You end up hurting yourself.
Mm.
Yeah, man. You know, Sarah, like, man, go ahead and use my go into my handmaid. Go into Hagar, man. Get it, and then we'll get a child.
You ready for that?
Go ahead.
This is Psalms 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth.
I'll be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. Psalms 27:14, and then you know I'll write that other one down.
This is Psalms 27:14. I just read these out. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord.
God, and how does he strengthen your heart? Because you done went through this darn process, you done waited, it finally hit. A lot of y'all still waiting on that income tax to hit that check. You frustrated. I mean that income tax check to hit that account. You frustrated, you sick, you done called, you done checked that darn refund. You done tapped into TurboTax every hour for the last 2 weeks, man. And that when that thing hit, you like, you know, your heart is strengthened. That bank account gets strengthened, that heart gets strengthened. You know, you had anxiety. You know, anxiety. Just walking around with anxiety, man. Because you done already spent that money. You done spent half that money, man. You know. And if you ain't got no spend, there's no sense. You done spent all of it before you done got it. But if you got half of a mind, you done spent half that money as soon as you got it. You know, I've been leaning on this thing. It finally came. Let us plant a seed and watch it grow. The story of the Chinese bamboo. I told you all that story a couple times, man. That bamboo tree, you have to plant that seed and water it like 3-4 times a day for like 10 years, or I think it's 5 years. 5 years before before it comes out the ground, before you can see it. But you got to consistently water it until you can see it. And once you see it, it grow like a foot. It grow like a foot every day or something like that, or every 3 days or something. But you gotta wait 5 years for those roots to, you know, stretch themselves out long enough. And you gotta be consistent. You don't see it. You know, you gotta be diligent, you gotta be consistent, and you gotta trust the process. And then once that bamboo comes up, you know the structure and the qualities that are good with that bamboo, man. You can build houses and boats and all kinds of stuff with that stuff, man. Stuff stretching all over the place. Every time I see it, I'll be thinking about that one scene in Rush Hour, Chris Tucker, you know, running around with that him and Ooh, that Jackie Chain running around with that darn bamboo. That bamboo fight scene. Get to the root. Get to the root of it. Bitterness shows lack of belief in the process and unbelief in the promise. Let's look at Proverbs 14:10.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 10. The heart knoweth his own bitterness, and a stranger doeth not intermeddle with his joy.
The heart knoweth, the mind knoweth his own bitterness. You know, a lot of times jokers, I was talking to one of my good friends today, and he was telling me that, he didn't want to really pop up yet, man. Just got in town. He didn't really want to pop up, man. Trying to get some things done. You just let me know, man. I ain't forgot about y'all. I said, man, I know, man. When you got to go through something, and you trying to relocate, and you trying to do things, it's tough, man. You relocating to a new city, you got so much on your mind. You ain't got time to kick the bobo and try to reminisce and do all of that, man. You trying to find a job, get the kids in school, trying to find a place to stay and all that, man. I said, man, yeah, man. I know you was in town, man. I know it's gonna take a few months, man. It's gonna take more than really about 4 to 6. You need 4 to 6 months before you can really, get that anxiety off you because of all the things you have to do. But you gotta trust the process, man. Relocation happens for a reason. And you just gotta go in and deal with certain things, man. You just gotta go in and the process of getting them kids in school, the process of trying to get find somewhere to rent, or find a house, or even buying a house. It's just a lot that goes into that, and it's a lot of people, more people than you want to be into that process. But once you get that stuff to that darn agent, man, you kind of gotta trust the process, man. Trust that they gonna do what they say they gonna do, or they can do what they say they can do. A lot of times, Joker be man, I get this off your credit, I do this, da 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 da. Ephesians 4:31.
This is Ephesians chapter 4, verse 31. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, have forgiven you.
You got to forgive the way you was forgiven. You got to let go of that bitterness and wrath. All right. Loving each other, being kind, tender-hearted, and put away evil speaking. You know what I'm saying? Put away evil speaking. Brothers want to just talk about they can cuss and they can do all this other stuff, especially doing it while you teaching, man. Come on, y'all. But we got to rid ourselves, full of that bitterness, man. And we have a bitterness as a nation. We have a bitterness in us into what was done to us. All right, what was done to us. But again, we gotta trust the process. Hebrews 12:14.
It's Hebrews chapter 12, verse 14. Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. Look diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled.
There are many are defiled. Letting that bitterness spring up in us, letting it stay there, and then not just springing up, but then we start nourishing it. We'll nourish the bitterness, man. We sit up there and watch all the slave movies and research all the crazy stuff that was done, and man, we just be throwing fire on that thing. And it's pretty much every movie that they put out about us. I think I just seen something about Little Richard finna have a movie. You're gonna see some racism in there. You're gonna see something you're gonna see something in that movie, besides even the point of, I don't know, his sexual orientation, or what he was giving off. But it's being him from the 60s and 70s, man, you finna see some heavy racism in that movie. You're gonna see some heavy racism in that thing. And you're gonna be in there thinking you finna see something about some rock legend and all this stuff, and you just gonna see a whole bunch of racism going on. That may spring up, that may trouble you, that may nourish that bitterness. But we got to follow peace with all men. This commandment, without which no man, all right, you got to have that peace and holiness, without which no man, if you ain't got it, no man shall see the Lord. Luke 17:6.
The book of Luke, chapter 17, verse 6. And the Lord said, if he had faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye might say unto this sycamore tree, be thou plucked up by the root, and be thou planted in the sea, and it shall obey you.
And it shall obey you. I think that sycamore tree got deep, deep roots because of it being in a dry region. It can still grow out there with those deep roots. And I think I doing some research. I seen them things. They'll bust through rocks. They'll grow and crack a rock. It'll be a big old, big old stone. It'll grow up and grow through the stone and crack the stone. But it's because those roots go deep. Those roots go deep to try to get to that water. But if you had that kind of faith, you can pluck that thing up, and just like we're saying, get to the root of it. That inner bitterness a lot of times is deeply rooted, like that sycamore tree. But with the faith and trust in the process, you can get that thing up out of there. Understanding what the end goal is, man, us receiving that eternal life, us having to go through these certain things, to be that nation, to glorify the Most High, to be a light, to for the world to see the deliverance of a people by the Most High. You got to go through that process. You just gotta go through the oppression. It's part of it. Bitterness will make you miss opportunity. 1 Samuel 16. Let's look at 14 through 17, and we'll jump down to 23.
It's the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 16, verse.
I got it out.
Yep.
I was on mute. My bad. I'm still working a little bit, man. So I just wanted to get this in. But yeah, 1 Samuel 16 and 14. But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him. And Saul's servants said unto him, behold, now an evil spirit from God troubleth thee. Let our Lord now command thy servants, which are before thee, to seek out a man who is a cunning player on an harp. And it shall come to pass, when the evil spirit from God is upon thee, that he shall play with his hand, and thou shalt be well. And Saul said unto his servants, provide me now a man that can play well, and bring him to me. And it came to pass, when the evil spirit from God was upon Saul, that David took an harp and played with his hand. So Saul was refreshed and was well, and the evil spirit departed from him.
And the evil spirit departed from him. So, if we had that, if David had that bitterness, and this is just refreshing from that's like that second slide we had earlier. If David had that bitter, he wouldn't have did that. He's like, man, I ain't finna do that. I'm not finna come to that job. I'm supposed to be the manager, and you finna tell me I'm finna be the secretary, man. I'm not finna do that.
Your speaker going in and out.
Is my speaker going out, y'all? Do I got good?
Yeah, just make it. Yeah, it was going in and out. I hear you now.
Okay, all praise. It's probably me just sitting here talking with my hands, man, bouncing in and out. But yeah, if he took that bitterness route, he probably wouldn't have did it. He's like, nah, man, I ain't finna do that. But he ended up getting in front of Saul, who was reigning, and gain favor. All right, gain favor. And this is part of the process. You have to, what's better than him learning, or what's better than the secretary learning? You a manager, you about to be a manager, you about to run this company, and you done learn all the inner workings as a secretary. You done learn so much as a secretary. how much prepared you're going to be once you get into that spot that you already been anointed to get through, to take over. You know, how great that, if you're a servant of the king, how great is it, and how much do you learn, and how much do you know the inner workings, the ins and outs, for you to do that for 15 years, even fighting, and even as being a soldier, and then you end up ultimately, learning all of these things for 15 years to become king yourself. Preparation has to come before the
Shalaki.
opportunity. Go ahead, Doc.
How old was David back then during this time? You know.
I don't
So
know,
this is
man. I
this.
think I think they say he was like 13 when he fought Philistine.
Okay.
And we getting there now. I think they say he was around 13, or he was young. So he was anointed young. He may not even understood what he was saying when he said that, but let me just see what some scholars may say on that.
The way it sounds, it sounds like David was older than Saul when he was put in this, but that's not the case, because that'd be even more of a test. You know what I mean? If you got to go and be a secretary to this young cat,
Yeah. Yeah.
that he just taking your position essentially. So yeah,
Yeah. So they saying he was 30 when he took over. And we know he
okay,
had to wait 15 years. So
okay.
he was probably early teens, man. Probably early teens. Before he actually got there. And that's what I'm saying. You gotta wait. You can see a Dorns, you tell a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old, man, you finna be king. You know. And 12 and 13 is a lot different. 12 and 13 back then was probably about 26 now.
Right.
That's right.
Mentally, anyway.
Yeah, con. Preparation has to come before the opportunity. 1 Samuel 17:32 through 36. 1 Samuel 17:32 through 36.
God. It's the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 17, verse 32. And David said to Saul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine. And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth.
You not able. David said, man, listen, what's going on? What's the there was a little reward in there too, man. If y'all go back and read chapter 17, man, it was a little reward.
Yeah.
That that David heard about. That reward was like, you know what? Man, let me go fight this joker, man. Let me go fight him. But
you did a class on that, Shalaki.
Yeah,
you did a class on that,
and y'all go back and read that. You'll see David wasn't just jumping out there, just to be righteous. It was a little reward. It was a little reward, and one of the rewards was marrying Saul's daughter.
God.
I know one of the rewards. I forget how much money it was, but I know one of the rewards was also marrying Saul's daughter. But he says, thou art not able to go against and fight against him. You just a youth, and he been a man of war since his youth. Watch what David says. He's been being prepared, man. Preparation has to come before the opportunity. Go ahead, 34.
And David said unto Saul, thy servant keep his father's sheep. And there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he rose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he have defiled the armies of the living God.
And I don't know if you ever seen a bear. I don't know if you've seen a grizzly bear, one of them stuffed grizzly bears, or seen them at a a museum or something.
9 feet,
But
1,200.
yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you know, y'all done seen line. I don't know if you've seen one in person or seen some of them African lines in person, but you know, you don't want to be chasing them like that down, man. If he got the sheep, hey man, you out of there. But this is just part of the preparation. Listen, man, I've already done fought a lion and a bear.
Right.
You know, this Philistine ain't gonna be no big deal. I know he big to y'all and y'all all spooked out. But I've been in the gym. I've been in the gym, man. I got
Easy
to worry
work.
about it. Yeah, easy work, man. I've been out here doing this, and it's for this moment. Like you know, you could be like, okay, what? Oh, well, so here we go. But if you didn't, if you weren't in, if you neglected the process, you're not gonna raise your hand. You're not gonna raise your hand and take advantage of this opportunity to, you know, to get this reward, get inside of the king's court. You're not gonna do that. You just like everybody else with their hand down. I don't know who gonna help, who gonna get us. You can put the whole nation in jeopardy. The whole nation got to fight because ain't nobody go through the process. Can't nobody else say that. Ain't nobody else say that, man. You know, I done fought a lion and a bear, and I done killed them folks and got my stuff back, man. I killed both of them, slew them.
Uh-huh.
All right, dare to trust God. Let's look at 1 Kings. We're gonna read chapter 17. All right, chapter 17. You ain't got but a few more slides, y'all. We at a good pace. 1 Kings 17. We're gonna talk about Elijah and how he had to trust the process. And you know, it's good as a prophet. You're a prophet, man. You know, them prophets got that play by play. You know, John Madden was in their ear, telling them, hey man, you know, this is how we gonna run this play, this is how we gonna run this next play. You just gotta trust the process. He gonna be wide open. He gonna be wide open. You gotta trust the process, man.
This is First Kings chapter 17 and verse 1. Y'all hear me?
Con.
Uh, it reads, and Elijah the Tishbite, who was with the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab, as the Lord God of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word. And the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, Get thee hence and turn thee eastward, and hide thyself by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan. And it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed thee there. So he went and
man. You know, the prophet done told the king Ahab. He told him, "Hey, man, there ain't finna be no. The Most High said, ain't gonna be no rain here for 3 years. I'm finna stay. He pretty much. The Most High told me, hey, man, he finna starve y'all to death. I finna starve you out. So that's the news I got to deliver to you. And now Elijah's just finna go on. He ain't tell him, hey man, come on with this brook. God told me to come to this brook. You know, you can come on too. No. God told him to go to the brook. He went to the brook Cherith by himself. Go ahead.
Verse 5. So he went and did according unto the word of the Lord, for he went and dwelt by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan. And the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the brook. And it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up, because there had been no rain in the land. And the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, Arise, get thee to Zarephath, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee.
Shalakia. So I already done put the play in. All right, the play's already in. First, go down there to that brook, and a raven is gonna bring you some flesh. And this ain't no doctrine. You know, I'm trying to spiritualize everything. With a raven, the raven was the angel bringing him meatier matters of the word, man.
Yeah, yeah, that's
He
doctrine.
brung him the meat. He brung him the meat in the evening, and he brung him the word in the morning. Where the flesh came, Shalaki, the flesh, the heavy matters came in the morning. You know, when you wake up and it's on your mind, you get in the bread, the you know, the word is the bread too. And come on, man. But you know that thing came in it came in the morning, and he trusted the process. And I seen video of a Raven bringing in money. That joker, the Raven was bringing this owner money every day. I don't know if he was an owner, but the Raven had befriended, and this, you know, this is documented, man. Ravens, if they friends with you, you bring them, they'll start dropping jewelry and stuff at your house, and pennies and coins and stuff. Very smart, and they speak also, man. They'll learn, you know. They like parrots also. But yeah, if y'all look into that, man, you'll see, man, ravens will drop stuff off. I think I had that, what's that poem, man? Was that Edgar Allan Poe or something like that?
You got me.
Yeah, I don't know. But
Verse
it was
10.
a story about, verse 10. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. It wasn't them, but trying to talk about that darn poet, man. I don't know his name, and I don't know the poem either.
All right, verse 10. So he arose and went to Zarephath, and when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the widow woman was there gathering of sticks. And he called to her and said, Fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel that I may drink. And as she was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, Bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thine hand. And she said, As the Lord thy God liveth, I have not a cake, but an handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die.
And you see, the Most High said he done commanded this woman to feed you. And you going down there, and the woman saying, hey, man, you know, I ain't got nothing but, you know, I ain't even got no cake, man. I got just a little cornmeal. I'm finna light a fire on the thing to feed me and my son, man, and we finna die. You know, they probably already, they so hungry, they know, hey, man, you know, this little cake ain't finna get us nowhere, but we'll probably still be dead in the morning. Or we'll still be dead in a couple of days, man. Probably already malnourished, skin and bone. I'm just speculating. It's not in the text. But you can hear the discouragement, you know, in the text when we hearing her, like, you know, man, yeah, we ain't got much of nothing. All right, but Elijah trusts in the process. All right, the woman may not trust the process as much. That's why she even saying that to him. She not saying, well, the Lord told me you was gonna come get here, and I got this cake. I'm finna dress this cake up for you. Now, watch what she says. Go ahead.
Verse 13. And Elijah said unto her, Fear not, go and do as thou hast said, but make me therefore a little cake first, and bring it unto me, and after make for thee or for thy son.
Yeah, I heard everything you said, but go ahead and make me a cake first. Make mine first. And then fear not. All right, don't fear not. Trust the process, and then you can make a cake for you and your son. Go ahead, Doc.
For thus saith the Lord God of Israel, the barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail, until the day that the Lord sendeth rain upon the earth. And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah, and he and her house did eat many days, and the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake by Elijah. And it came to pass after these things, that the son of the woman, the mistress of the house, fell sick, and his sickness was so sore that there was no breath left in him. And she said unto Elijah, What have I to do with thee, O thou man of God, art thou come unto me to call my sin to remembrance and to slay my son?
Look at her thinking. Look at the way she's thinking. Even though they still eating good, they still got oil, they still, they were eating cakes the whole time that everybody else been in famine and malnourished. But she been baking cakes the whole time. And now she's saying, hey man, are you calling my sins to remembrance? Have you been sent here to call my sins, to condemn me and kill my son? Are you sent here for that? And evidently she holding on to it too. She know what she done been doing. She know what she been through. But the Most High still using her. Still using her. Watch this. Go ahead.
And he said unto her, Give me thy son. And he took him out of her bosom and carried him up into a loft where he abode and laid him upon his own bed. And he cried unto the Lord and said, O Lord my God, hast thou also brought evil upon the widow with whom I sojourn by slaying her son?
And
And he stretched,
Elijah had to say something too. Elijah had to ask, like, man, yeah, that's a little rough. Let me see, but and then she's, we know all the precepts. Well, we know within the text, we know because we know these things with how he takes care of the widow, the orphan, and the stranger. How we have all of these things that are all not things, but all of these statutes and ordinances on how to and what we need to do to take care of these people when they're sojourning among us. And we see the Most High using this widow who doesn't, her husband has died and she's still left with a son. She's starving at a point of starvation, thinking she about to die because of starvation. And then, when you got over that roller coaster, now, you see your son done died. And Elijah's finna deal with it. What the Most High's finna deal with it through Elijah. Go ahead, verse 21.
and that's also how you build up heavenly treasures
Absolutely.
by helping the widows and the lowly. But yeah, verse 21. And he stretched himself upon the child 3 times and cried unto the Lord and said, O Lord my God, I pray thee, let this child's soul come into him again.
God,
And the
and three
Lord heard
times
the,
it didn't. Shalaki. It didn't happen the first time. It didn't happen the second time. He did it 3 times. Go ahead.
and the Lord heard the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the child came into him again, and he revived. And Elijah took the child and brought him down, and brought him down out of the chamber into the house, and delivered him unto his mother. And Elijah said, See, thy son liveth. And the woman said to Elijah, Now by this I know that thou art a man of God, and that the word of the Lord in thy mouth is truth.
And the Lord, the words that's coming out your mouth is truth. I know now. And again, ultimately, she was used for the glorification of the Most High. This widow was used, and her son, even though he died, was also a vessel for the glory of God. And we see he was, resurrected by Elijah, by the Most High through Elijah's cry out. And the Most High heard his words, heard his cry out. And then she was like, now by this I know. And see, now her heart is strengthened. She knows. You ain't nothing you finna tell her about Elijah. Whatever Elijah tell her to do through the words of the Most, man, it ain't nothing you gonna be able to sway her on. And she got a heavy testimony, man. We was up here making cakes, and we had 15 grains of cornmeal, man. Out here making flapjacks. Plenty of oil. Unlimited flapjacks and oil. It's gonna be rough to tell you. And then my son got so sick that he died, and he was brought back by the Most High. You're gonna be able to tell that, sister.
It's all
Then
right.
you're gonna be able to tell him. All praises. And that's what I'm saying. We got to look at some of these testimonies, man, to strengthen us also. And we've had children brought back. How many times seen kids in emergency rooms with diagnosis of them, being terminally ill, and they being brought back. How many miracles we see of babies being born 3 months, 4 months early, and them being brought back. And we kind of give that thing to medicine, but that's the Most High does a lot of things today that He don't get the glory for. But those who know, they know, and they give that glory unto the Most High. That He's still a miracle working God. All right, women usually don't trust the process. I'm sorry, sister. Genesis 18:13 through 4. We see this. Yeah, see a couple examples in the text. Genesis 18:13 through 14.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 18, verse 13. And the Lord said unto Abraham, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of a surety bear a child, which am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? At that time appointed, I will return unto thee, according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son.
We know what Sarah did. John 11:21. We know Sarah took it into her own hands. But see, when he says this, is anything too hard for the Lord? Ain't no answer, ain't no reply. She ate that, but still in her mind there was some doubt. John 11:22. Let's look at Martha.
John chapter 11, verse 22. Then said Martha unto Jesus, Lord, if thou have been here, my brother had not died.
No, you know who she was talking to.
Hmm?
She didn't know who she was talking to. What you mean? You don't think I can resurrect him? You don't think I can bring him back to life? What you mean if I would have been here, he wouldn't have died? Why is this the end game? Why are you crying? You should be rejoicing that I'm here. Especially when you see the widow woman resurrected Elijah. What you think? Come on now. Who you think in front of you? Numbers chapter 12, verse 1 through 4.
Said, and Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman who he had married. And he had married the Ethiopian woman. And they said, hath the Lord indeed spoken only by Moses? Have he not spoken also by us? And the Lord heard it. Now the man Moses was very meek among all the men which were upon the face of the earth. And the Lord spake suddenly unto Moses, and unto Aaron, and unto Miriam, come out ye three unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out.
And so now they doubting Moses' leadership because he's marrying an Ethiopian woman. And they telling them, and they telling us, man, what, Moses ain't just speaking, he ain't just speaking to him. He said something to me one time, two times. He said something to you too. So, why he got to be the leader? Where he guiding us? He can't be guiding us to the promised land if he don't marry Ethiopian women. Doubting the process. Genesis chapter 30 and verse 1. Let's look at Rachel.
And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, give me children, or else I die.
Give me children, or else I'm going to die. She was envious, took it into her own hands. Here, sleep with my handmaid and give me a child. And then we know the race and the jealousy between Leah and Rachel going back and forth. And again, Rachel not trusting the process, took it into her own hands. But part of the process too, man, make it up to 12 tribes. But things went left when she wanted to take it into her own hands, and have her handmaiden do that. And then Leah mastered, had her handmaiden do it, and I know the story. You might get beat in the process. And I was talking about this, last couple classes, man, about, us suffering persecution, us dealing with certain things. Let's look at 2 Corinthians 11, 23 to 23 through 32. We got one more slide after this. And this is dealing with Paul, man, and what he had to go through. A lot of us complain about what we dealing with, but man, this is just what you gotta go through, man. This is what This is some of the things you gotta go through. And,
Go back to same way.
This is 2 Corinthians. You ready?
2 Corinthians 11, 23.
2 Corinthians 11 and 23. Are they ministers of Christ? I speak as a fool. I am more in labors, more abundant in stripes, above measure, in prisons more frequent, and deaths oft. Of the Jews 5 times received I 40 stripes, save 1. Thrice was I beaten with rods, once was I stoned, thrice I suffered shipwreck, a night and a day. A night and a day I have been in the deep.
Man. It's just rough, man. 5 times I received stripes. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned, man. Joe got stoned to death and they left. They thought he was dead.
Wow.
That's the only reason they ain't throw no more stones. And that joker got
Wow.
Suffered in a shipwreck. Imagine being left by the cruise ship, man. And the ship was going to take him to jail anyway, but man, thrice he done got in this shipwreck and suffered and was out there in the water for a day and a night and a day, out there in the deep, out there in the ocean, man. I guess you just grab it. What's that? The Titanic? You grab one of them logs, grab one of them boards, man. Where we at? Wow. Verse 26.
In journeyings often, in perils of water, in perils of robbers, in perils of mine own countrymen, in perils by the heathen, in perils in the city, in perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren. And weariness and painfulness, and watching often, and hunger and thirst, and fasting often, and cold and nakedness. Beside those things that are without, that which cometh upon me daily, the care of all the churches. Who is weak, and I am not weak? Who is offended, and I burn not? Who, if I must needs glory, I will glory of the things which concern mine infirmities. The God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, which is blessed forevermore, knoweth that I lie not. In Damascus, the governor under Aretas, the king, kept the city of the Damascenes with a garrison, desirous to apprehend me.
With a garrison, they kept one. King went out and guarded this garrison. Hopes of
that baby gonna fall out.
In hopes of apprehending me, so they can put that garrison on me and cut my head off. All right, second, wow. And this is part of the walk. And Joker be like, man, Paul ain't really, who is Paul? And Paul ain't really know, man. You see what this man I went through. And he told you that he's going to suffer many things for my name's sake. 2 Corinthians 12, 7 through 10.
This is 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 7. And lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distress, for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then am I strong.
And watch this. This was the Father saying. He says, "My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect." And he said unto me, "My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness." And there's in that perfection of his strength is the deliverance of a weak people, of a people that are facing these necessities, persecutions, distresses, these and infirmities. And this is why Paul is taking pleasure in these things, understanding that it's for the greater good, it's for the glory of the Most High. And so, as being those chosen people, it comes with the job. It comes with the job. It comes with the job. But we gotta understand the end goal. We gotta look at that end goal. That this is how he shines his light, and we're trying to get to that everlasting kingdom. Trust him. Joshua 1:8-9. Read these couple precepts and we out of here. You can read them off the screen if you need to. You just some one hitters.
Book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed. For the Lord thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest.
Trust him, meditate on the word day and night. Being commanded to be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid. You know, we talk about these things. You'll see a class every day about what's happening to this nation and the things that are going to come upon us and the things that are and Babylon is destroyed and so forth. But these things might scare some people. These things might scare people, but you got to trust the process. Just like we talking about them dawn calls. We know that once you know you're walking the purpose for Israel, you know we got to go through these things. And again, Brother Adelaide, I was bringing these things out the last 2 weeks on the Tuesdays class with Esdras, you know, trying to help us understand these things, man. These things are gonna happen, it's gonna get worse and so forth, but you gotta be strong. You've been commanded to be strong and of good courage. 2 Samuel 7:28.
And now, O Lord God, thou art that God, and thy words be true, and thou hast promised this goodness unto thy servant.
All right. O Lord thy God, thou art that God. All right. And thy words are true. Psalms 20 and verse 7. We understand who we dealing with. We understand we serve the one true God, Yahweh, whatever y'all call him. We know we serving the Most High God, and his words are true. All right. Psalms 20 and 7.
Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God.
Come on, we'll remember the name of Yahweh. All right. We're not trusting in horses. We're not trusting in military might. We're not trusting in guns. We're not trusting in violence. We're not trusting that we're smarter. We're trusting in the Lord. Psalms 37:4-6.
Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday.
Come on, he gonna bring it. It's gonna be guaranteed. It's gonna raise up like the night, and thy judgment as the noonday. You gotta trust in that process and delight in his way. That's the only way you're gonna let him lead you. All right, commit thy way unto the Lord. The only way you're gonna commit yourself unto the Lord and commit him to direct you, or to, like our Christian brothers and sisters say, we gonna let him take the wheel is you have to fully trust him. You gotta let him trust him where he gonna take it, and he may take you to some dangerous places, but you gotta be strong and of good courage. Psalms 112 and verse 7. We close out for comments.
He shall not be afraid of evil tidings. His heart is fixed, trusting in the Lord.
Trusting in the Lord. He not afraid of those evil tidings. He not finna get shook and all worked up about, you know, the news of World War III, or Brit leaving here and this is going over there and these nations rising against that. You know, we know the signs of the times, and we evaluating things to warn the people, but we're not in fear. All right, we're not fearful of those evil tidings, knowing these things got to come to pass. We're still heart is fixed on trusting in the Lord, man. And I yield. Y'all brothers and sisters have anything? Acts 16:31 is a precept. We need to bring out for Acts 16:31.
Acts 16:31. Sure. Yeah. Shalaki here, Acts 16:31. It says, and they said, believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and thou shalt be saved, and thy house.
And thy house, man. We got to believe. We got to trust. We got to follow. We got to have faith. All right. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ. Believe on that blood. Believe on what was accomplished on Calvary. And we'll be saved. And not only us, and our house. All right. And our house. Rahab was saved and her whole house came. She said, bring your whole family. Bring your whole family based on Rahab. Lot was saved because of the righteousness of Abraham. Really told Abraham to leave everybody back. I tell you to take no Lot. And it caused him some situations. But, you know, Lot was spared from Sodom and Gomorrah based off the face card of Abraham. And also, we are saved based off the face card of the Hamashiach Yahushua, Lord and Savior. Anybody got anything to add, or any precepts, any questions?
No, that's good stuff.
Yeah, I told y'all, man, it was pretty bulky today, man. But, you know, we got to go back to the basics. We got to go back to the foundational principles. You finna say something, Brother Michael?
Yes. Yes, like it ain't easy, and it can be weary at times. But, you know, we got to hang on, even if our tongue hanging out our mouth. You know, even if we got to pull each other along. You know, we can do it no longer we got the Most High in our corner. But, you know, it's like, I seen the guy, you know, it's hard walking away from a situation where someone is, you know, talking to your file, calling you out your name, and you really just want to put hands on them. It takes a strong person, man, to walk away from that. But, you know, other people might look at it like it's weak. You know, I would have did that, but, you know, with that come trouble. I yield on that.
And a lot of those other people in the flesh. Only the flesh is going to feel that's weak. All right, those that walk in the spirit going to see, you know what, and they going to know what it took and know that it had to be spiritual for that brother to walk away from that situation and save lives. You know what I'm saying, brother? Because death can come from these altercations now. So, you know, it does, and it's hard, and we gotta, you know, like I said, man, we gotta mortify the flesh, man, and just, you know, sit down and think, man, and understand what's at stake when we do those things, and the benefits of just walking away, man. You gotta have no pride about it, and you gotta be no, you know, I don't want that joker, like we was talking earlier, man. I don't want that joker having thinking I'm a chump or a punk or something. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that flesh will jump out there, man. That flesh will start blurting out before that spirit can even get there. That spirit, like, man, I'm on the way. He around the corner, and that flesh done jumped off already. He done got 15 seconds in. You mother sucker, da wada, wada, wada. You ain't gonna do nothing. And And you know that spirit finally comes in and say, you know what, man, I'm tripping. That ain't worth it, man. It's not worth me losing my job. It's not worth me. It's
Hey,
not worth me going through all of that. It's not worth me killing this joker and end up going to jail or something foolish like that, man. And I'm a citizen. I'm an ambassador of Christ. You know what I'm saying? I'm Israel. I'm a light. People are looking at it. It's a reflection of God. I'm a reflection of God in me and how I behave. You know, it's supposed to be a direct deflection of the Most High and His Spirit upon us. Go ahead, Al.
hey, so like I was looking at a video earlier, and it was titled "3 Generations of Women, you know, throw their life away." Come to find out, it was the grandmother, the daughter, and the granddaughter. You know, the grandma finna get evicted long story short. She get the arguing with the people now. She called her daughter and them over. They going now, jump on the lady, one of the daughter, end up shooting her, killing her. And she shot at the janitor who was trying to break it up. Now, all three of these women threw their life away, and the granddaughter, she got a daughter. Now, all of them locked up for murder. Like I was saying, man, if they would have waited a while, it probably would have been the 4 horsemen. But I
It's fragile, man. Life is fragile.
Walk away.
Yep, it's just better to walk away, man. You know, give yourself some time to think on them things, man. Evaluate the consequences, and you know, a lot of times we don't do that, man. We don't realize, and even when you survive those certain things, if you just go back and just think about how many times in life we done had those altercations where we face to face, nose to nose with a joker, ready to knock his eyes out, and you know, I was talking to Ak the other day, man, about I was walking, doing a little late night walk, and a Benz pulled up on me. You know, it's like 2:00 in the morning, and the Benz pulled up on the side, you know, to the sidewalk and rolled his windows down. Of course, I'm armed, and I got my hand in my pocket on the pistol. Wow, he rolled down the window. You know what he said to me?
You need a ride?
You need a ride. He almost died about trying to ask her brother, do we need a ride? And that's what I'm saying. Life is fragile, and I got that spirit on. It's been through certain things, and it's, you know, I gotta mortify the flesh. We all got work, you know. I can't say for everybody, but I know I did some work.
He might have wanted to take you on a long ride, though.
It could have been. You ain't lying. It could have been a long ride. But I was telling, I said, man, you know what? I'm good, brother. I said, okay, man. All right, brother.
Yeah, man.
You know, I kind of felt bad after that, but you know, it's just
she did. It's like y'all. It did the world we in, man. Every time you turn around, it seems like it's something.
Gone.
So you know, it kind of like, man, I want to help, but shoot, should I answer my door for this joker?
Yeah,
You know,
you gotta evaluate things. You gotta, you know what I'm saying. You gotta evaluate things. I ain't telling you to be out, don't protect yourself and so forth, but you know, it just like you said, it's the world we live in, man. But you know, you got to know where we at. We got to know our environment, and so forth, and try to, you know, just guard our hearts, man, and that we don't make these rash decisions that end up, you know, destroying our lives or, you know, costing us the kingdom, man. Anybody got anything else?
No, I appreciate it.
No, man, I appreciate y'all, brothers. I pray this thing was edifying to the body, man. Y'all be blessed. Shalom. I wish you have a great rest of the week. We'll be back on Bring It Out TV Friday, y'all willing. And y'all willing, this weather holds up, man. We can get out here and you know, teach this gospel on these highways and byways. Shalom, family.
Shalom.
Shalom.